So it was probably the advisory committee process for Exondys, both leading up to it, the day of, and then afterwards, was the most stressful and exciting and meaningful time in my life. We prepared, I was part of the group preparing all 52 speakers, or 52 groups of speakers, because some folks spoke in groups. We organized the clinicians that were speaking, and so everything was a well-oiled machine in terms of our organization and our advocates that were speaking. But of course, I was also there with my family. My son Austin wrote his own speech. Now, keep in mind, everything had to be 3 minutes long or less. It was one of the proudest moments of my life when he was finished speaking and some other folks were speaking. The FDA panel, the advisory committee panel, they were saying some things that the community just really hated, and the energy in the room got louder and louder and more intense, because our community that was filling this room and spilling out into the other rooms and watching online realized that this committee was not getting it. They were missing the point, and that it was probably going to be a negative decision. And Austin is usually a very well-behaved boy, but there was a moment where one of the panel members said something about we should be patient. And Austin plowed his wheelchair through, and I saw him going, and we all saw him going, and my father saw him going, and he just turned on his chair and plowed through what ended up being the media in the front aisle. But I think that that was the moment I realized that, you know, my whole family had been changed by this event, and that we were no longer spectators in the drug development process. We were so intimately involved that even my teenage son was feeling the pressure and the angst, and I think it propelled us forward. Waiting for a decision was tedious. There was silence. We couldn't really talk to the company. We didn't have any interaction with regulators. The day I found out is a fun story. I was no longer working in advocacy. I was actually consulting for a totally different company. I was in a cubicle this big in Cambridge by myself. And I hadn't heard the news, and I got a cell phone call from one of the investors in the company that had been following me, and that I had talked to before, and he said, "Congratulations." And I said, "Congratulations on what? You know, the new job?" And he said, "Congratulations, you did it. It's been approved." And, you know, slamming open my little cubicle door and looking around, and I told everybody in the CIC building in Cambridge, and none of them knew what I was talking about, but it was just this feeling of excitement followed by yes, but we're not done. And I had a bunch of families that were waiting for a drug treatment. So it was exciting, but we didn't even celebrate. I think it was a really strong learning curve going from a stay-at-home mom in Vermont to an activist, essentially. And I think a lot of the lessons I learned were persistence. You're not just a mom, and stop saying that. You're an expert, and so go to the expert meetings, even if you don't understand them. Learn to, you know, rub elbows with the people that are decision makers, the people that are doing these trials. Speak up if you don't agree with something. Speak up if you see something in your child that you think needs to be looked at. Shop around for a clinician that you feel comfortable with. Think of yourself as the consumer of all of these things, and think of yourself as sort of the boss of the whole system, because without the patient, there's no need for regulators, there's no need for biotech companies, there's no need for insurance companies. So we are the consumers of this system, and so I think it's important to step back and realize that this system is built to help patients and to use your voice accordingly.